Hello and welcome back to another episode of Field Vision with Coach Clinton. I'm your host, Brian Clinton, contributor over at OUinsider.com. And we've got a really interesting video for you guys today. We are talking about Zach Alley, the new defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. You know the ins and outs about this guy. I spent the last couple of seasons at Jacksonville State, was at Louisiana Monroe prior to that, and then obviously spent 7 years under Brent Venables as a student assistant and graduate assistant at Clemson. But you know all of that stuff. Today, let's look at some of the things that make the hire very interesting, very intriguing, and something that Sooner fans, I believe, should be really excited about. So first thing, let's jump into. Let's talk about the stats. Let's talk about the stat sheet, the comparison between Brent Venables' defense and Zach Alley's defensive scheme, and how comparable those two have been whenever it comes to production on the defensive side of the ball. So in 2023, their units were actually very similar, despite playing two different levels of competition. Those things level out, considering Oklahoma is playing comparable competition in the Big 12, and Jacksonville State's playing comparable competition there in Conference USA. Tackles for loss, Oklahoma had 98 or 7.5, just a little over 7.5 game. Jacksonville State had 92 or just over 7 per game. Oklahoma had 24 sacks to Jacksonville State's 39. Really good on that front for Jacksonville State. Total quarterback pressures, according to PFF, Oklahoma had 252. Jacksonville State had 238. Oklahoma's third down conversion rate, defensive conversion rate, 30.96. They allowed opponents to convert 30.96% of the time, whereas Jacksonville State's at 32.5. Oklahoma forced 26 turnovers. Jacksonville State had 25. Points per game allowed, Oklahoma allowed 23.5 points per game. Jacksonville State allowed 21.2. So, very similar numbers. Jacksonville State, obviously, a lot higher there in sacks, but the quarterback pressure rate really shows you these two teams very comparable whenever it comes to how productive they were at creating chaos in 2023. But let's look a little bit further. You guys came here for the film breakdown, so that's what we're going to move to next. I looked at about 6 games worth of Jacksonville State film. Obviously, I wouldn't consider myself a film junkie anymore. I used to be whenever I was coaching football, but I still hop in from time to time and sit down and lose myself for a couple of hours. If that makes me film junkie, then I guess I still am. But some really interesting takeaways from what I saw on film here. And we'll kind of go through a few points that stuck out to me, and then show you a couple of plays for each of them that kind of drives the point home. The first is gap integrity and lateral pursuit for the Gamecocks, and then we'll show you what it looks like with Oklahoma as well. All right, so this first play we're going to look at, we've got Jacksonville State against Liberty. I believe this is the second play of the game defensively for Jacksonville State. You've got a 4-man front, and we are looking at this is going to end up being a speed option play from Liberty. And what I want you to notice is just how well we see JSU do, how good of a job they do stretching this play out to the boundary. So we get the snap here. You've got 15 coming in motion, and he's gonna block down on this defensive end, and we see this triple option look. So you fake the handoff to 20, and then everybody rolls out. Look how well the defense pursues here, and look how well they stretch this out. So you've got everybody doing their job. 25 comes up and makes the tackle. But if you look, 23 is who makes this play, because he stays true to his assignment. He knows what his assignment is. That's 82, and he takes the pitch man away. And so that allows the rest of the defense to rally inside, get to him there, and they stretch this play out as far as it can go, and it ends up being a tackle for loss. Big play for the defense. Really good pursuit from the entire defense here, and I like how they stretch the play out. So it's a good showing. Now let's see Oklahoma do the same thing this year. We've got a similar play. It's not speed option here. We've got this is a split zone. West Virginia kind of runs their own version of split zone. It's really wide at times, and it's effective. So we're going to see 5 in motion here, and he ends up going out wide, and they hand the ball off here to Donaldson. And if you look, the guy that makes this play, Jacob Lacey, is the one that makes this play. You've got Kip Danny and Jacob Lacey who really combine on this one. So Lacey is going to actually cross the guard's face. He's not going to allow the guard to cut him off. He's not going to allow him to reach that block. And what he does is he keeps that, he strong arms it. So he is going to get underneath that block and continue working outside and not let him close off that end. And what it does is it keeps the running back, it keeps the play inside of him. Then we see Kip Lewis come down, and he's going to be the one that fills. He fills the gap well, gets inside and blows it up, and then you see Danny come in and clean the play up and finish it off. So really, again, good pursuit, good things from all 3 of those guys, and then obviously, again, this looks very similar to what we saw from Jacksonville State and that last play. Some things in symmetry there. So this is something that we see similar from Zach Alley, as well as from Brent Venables and what their kind of defenses are going to look like. The next thing that really stuck out with Jacksonville State is the amount of chaos and confusion that this team creates just in its blitz packages and what it brings to the table here. So we're going to look at a play against South Carolina. We got a tie ball game, third quarter, and this is a 5-man pressure here, and we're going to see the defensive end drop. So this defensive end here closest to us, he's actually going to drop mid zone here. They're wanting to go to your crosser from the top of the screen. He's going to come across. They're wanting to hit him on 3rd and 8 here, but they actually end up bringing pressure from the weak side, and they do a really good job of overfilling a gap here. So you're going to see them overfill B gap, and it's just too much for the guard and tackle to take care of. And then the running back, he kind of just gets bowled over here. But Spencer Rattler ends up having to eat this, and part of that is because he expected that crosser to come open, but because the defensive end here drops into this middle zone, the confusion's there, the split decision can't be made. He doesn't have time to look through his progressions because the pressure's already on top of him, and you end up having a big sack there on 3rd and 8 and forcing a punt. Just, again, really sound, good gap integrity from the defense here, and they do an excellent job bringing pressure from one side and creating balance on the other side. Another thing to show you here is your 3 tech here, who would be the second closest guy if you're looking from the sideline along the line of scrimmage there. He's actually going to take a wide path here, so it actually creates it cuts off Spencer Rattler's option from running out to his left side there, and it creates that pocket, if you will, where the defense is keeping him contained. So really good stuff from them on that play. And let's see something similar from Oklahoma here. We're going to look at a third quarter play against Arizona in the Alamo Bowl. You guys may remember this one. It didn't happen that long ago. So we're going to see the entire defensive line is going to slant to their left, which will be the offense's right here. And what it does is you're going to see it influence the tackle that they're picking on here to pick up this sack. So everybody is slanting left. They're all slanting in symmetry there, and we're going to see Robert Spears Jennings and Kip Lewis come through B and C gap on a blitz, and it's too much for the left guard, left tackle to pick up, and the running back there he can only take one of them. So essentially, what they do is they make sure that that the tackle's wrong. They're going to make him pick one and make him commit to it, and that ends up letting Kip Lewis just come free. He has a free hit on the quarterback here, sets him up with 2nd and 19. So this is a big play. This is one that you've got to remember and keep track of here, because these are the kinds of things you're going to see. These are the kinds of things you're going to see from Zach Alley as well. We see this is a very, very common thing throughout his film, where they overload one side of the opposing offensive line and bring pressure that way. So very common, something that you see a lot. And I want you to notice on this play, watch what Trace Ford's movement in particular does to this offensive tackle. He has his eyes on him just long enough where it sets him up. He goes out to punch there, and while he's still in his pass set, he's now got to choose between 3 guys within reach of him, and the chaos. He takes the outermost guy, and it ends up being, like I said, a big sack. So good stuff there. Again, very similar to what we just saw from JSU. Let's go to the next point. Next point is creativity. I really like what these guys both do. Obviously, Brent Venables has been known for a long time as one of the most creative play callers when it comes to the defensive side of the football, and I believe Zach Alley's got that knack just as well. One of the things that they do a lot of is they drop their defensive ends into pass coverage. We just saw a play a couple of minutes ago against South Carolina lead to a sack there, but there's a couple others that I want you to look at here, and really we're looking at these concepts just to get you familiar with it, because you may or may not have noticed that you're already seeing some of these things. Everything just happens so fast on the field. Unless you break it down and slow it down, it's really easy to miss. So here on this one, we've got Jacksonville State against Middle Tennessee. They are down 23-7 in the third quarter. They actually end up winning this game by a couple of scores. A lot to do with what the defense did in the second half of this game. 3rd and 11 here, obvious passing situation. You've got this 3-man front and an edge player there, and he is, he technically is a defensive end. He doesn't have his hand on the ground, so this is we could argue 3-3-5, 4-2-5, but this is going to be one of those plays we talked about where defensive end breaks off and ends up being in pass coverage, and it's just enough. It throws things off just enough for this quarterback to create some confusion, and what ends up happening is you've got the defensive end closest to us. He breaks off into coverage. You have even pressure from this left side of the defense, and then you have the blitz overload from the top, where they actually send a corner on a blitz and they bring the linebacker as well. Middle Tennessee does a decent job picking this up, but it still flushes the quarterback. He feels the pressure, escapes the pocket. Now here's the kicker. The corner at the top of this play, he appears to be playing. He looks pre-snap as if he's going to play man, or excuse me, he looks like he's maybe playing zone, and that he's going to be falling somewhere maybe into this flat. So, typically we see safeties do more of the dropping into a deep zone, but we actually see the corner. He just takes off and drops, and the safeties pick these guys up in man coverage. And it's almost as if the quarterback just forgot that he was there. And so he literally just throws this ball right to the corner. Uh, easy interception. And so, I truly don't think the quarterback even saw that he was there. It's again, we see some confusion at the line of scrimmage. We see a unique way of picking up man coverage there, and then we see them hide some of that zone in the back end of the defense, and they end up being able to force a turnover here and turn the game around. So, big play for Jacksonville State, and a really creative design from Zach Allen. Okay, let's take a look at something similar from Oklahoma here, and we've got a three-man front, and we're going to have an overload blitz on one side, and we see Ethan Downs drop into the curl flat area just to give him another layer for Quinn Ewers to have to deal with there in the passing game. So they bring pressure. Ewers drops back. They have some routes here. I'm assuming they run chain routes on the backside just to get out of that first down marker, but they end up going out of the screen where we can see them. And obviously, Ewers doesn't like what he sees. He sees some open grass and is starting to feel some of the pressure there, so he escapes and tries to pick it up with his legs. And Oklahoma ends up rallying and making the play here. Obviously, this is where Peyton Bowen ends up forcing a fumble, and Oklahoma recovers. But the point is, 3rd and 12, and Texas isn't able to convert because the pressure gets home, and it may not end up in a sack, but the chaos and the confusion there ends up being effective, and you've got a really creative way of still covering the zones that you need to by using Ethan Downs in that situation. Again, just really creative concepts and things that we see from both of these guys when we're looking at the film. So, all right, next step, next point that I want to make, and this is going to be the last point. We've got 3 plays on this one, is aggression. Both of these guys, as play callers, are incredibly aggressive. I would actually say that at this point in his career, Zach Alley is probably more aggressive than Brent Venables is right now as a play caller. It's kind of, you get exactly what you've been hearing. This is a younger version. It feels as almost this is a younger version of Brent Venables. Whenever he was 30 years old, Zach Alley seems to live and die by the blitz, and more often than not, his defenses have been productive with that being the case. So, first play we're looking at here is another play against Spencer Rattler in South Carolina, and we've got an RPO look here on 3rd and 2. They're wanting to either hit the screen out here, or Rattler has the opportunity to pick this up with his legs. And JSU does a fantastic job on this play, and they actually sniff out both of these things. You see them play the corner out here playing man. He sees what's coming right away, and then you see the safety obviously diagnoses it quickly, and he's up on it before Rattler can get the ball out. But also the end is actually able to get upfield and get in the passing lane before Rattler can make anything happen. And so as he works upfield, I also want you to take a look here at the 3 tech, who is he's going to be your guy to the far side of the center. He actually is going to step and cross face of this guard. And what it does is it forces that guard to take another step down, and it gives the linebacker space to work on this blitz. He's coming from the get-go, and that's who ends up making the play. That's who ends up making the tackle there, is 23. And so by the defensive end working up and outside, and your defensive tackle there crossing face and working inside, it gives that linebacker space to work and do whatever he needs to. And then down at the bottom, we also have another guy that's coming on a blitz. You can see him kind of getting happy feet a little bit there just before the snap, and ends up coming right away. So they're dialing up pressure. And if you look, guys, there's no safeties back there. There's nobody playing deep. This is straight man across. This is a zero blitz, and they're going full out for this. And again, that's something that some coordinators maybe wouldn't do, but it's kind of a staple of what we've seen from Allie. He does not mind leaving his corners on islands. He trusts them. He trusts his guys well enough in coverage to leave them out there in one-on-one situations, and that ends up allowing them to be very aggressive whenever it comes to playing the run and being in the box and things like that. So we see another play here. This one from Oklahoma, very similar situation here. You've got 3rd and 2, and Oklahoma is being aggressive, literally showing no safeties deep, and they actually decide to bring Reggie Pearson on the snap, who does a fantastic job sneaking back there and getting a free look at the quarterback. And so what Oklahoma does here is they actually do a gap exchange stunt. You've got R. Mason Thomas and Jordan Kelly occupying the offensive tackle here. So you're gonna see them exchange gaps, and it keeps that tackle occupied just long enough for Pearson to sneak around there untouched. And it's really, gap exchange is really simple. It's kind of one of those guys are in unison who's going first. And so in this situation, it's going to be Jordan Kelly who goes first, and then you're going to see R. Mason Thomas wrap underneath him. And that switch just, I'm not even sure that the left tackle knew what was going on until he turned around and picked up the football. So really interesting, really easy design whenever you look at it in slow motion. But as far as picking it up and diagnosing it on the go, really difficult. And it just goes to show you how effective plays like that can be, and how effective concepts like that can be for the Sooners going forward. And we're certainly going to see that from Zach Alley being the new DC there. And then final play. This is not a zero blitz. We don't have another zero blitz here. Those last two were, but this one is a 7-man pressure, and this is against New Mexico State. This is that the team that everybody talked about going into Auburn and taking care of them. Yeah, this is the same team, and on this play, JSU just looks like, I mean, they run right through these guys on this particular play, and I mean, really, this one was really just kind of an all-out blitz, but it also feels as if New Mexico State maybe messed up here, because the defensive end up top comes untouched to make the sack. But who ends up really actually making this play again is your 3-tech. This guy is he is able to get underneath. He gets underneath this guard, rips through, and he not only blows up the pulling tackle, but he grabs the running back and blows up the entire play there. And then obviously the quarterback isn't able to escape the end, who comes free. So, guys, lots of aggression, lots of chaos, lots of fun. I think that's what you're going to get with Zach Alley as the defensive coordinator there at Oklahoma. And with him being under a guy like Brent Venables, who he's very familiar with, I have a really good feeling that this is going to be a good match and a good pairing for these two. And I'm really excited to see what you guys think about the defense going forward, because it's going to be one of those live or die by the blitz that we've seen in the past. That may frustrate some of you, but for others of you, if you've seen what Brent Venables has done in the past at Clemson, I think you'll be just fine with that sentiment. So that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Thank you again so much for checking the videos out. And remember, if you like us, just hit subscribe. You help us out a ton whenever you guys do that. And if you're not subscribed to OUinsider.com, you need to get over there and check us out. We're covering baseball, softball, basketball obviously is in full swing right now. But we're going to have a ton of off-season coverage for you guys. Jesse and Parker Brandon and Parker doing a great job on the recruiting trail. Jesse and I will have everything for you team related that you want. And then Brody and Jesse are doing a fantastic job over there covering basketball, covering hoops, and we've got everything you need over there. So get over there and subscribe and check us out. And make sure you're letting us know what you think of these videos, guys. I love doing this Field Vision series. Got a lot in plan and a lot in store for you guys in the coming weeks and months. So we will see you next time. Appreciate you checking in, and thanks once again.